Good evening and welcome to the Guest House Foundation Show here on CAN TV. My name is Art Sims and I am your host this evening for an interesting and wonderful conversation. For those of you that have never heard of Guest House, we are a 501c3, a non-for-profit organization that offers temporary medical lodging for those in the Chicagoland area and for people who visit Chicago seeking medical treatment at top hospitals here in the Chicagoland area. We offer 54 fully furnished apartments in the medical district at the corner of Polk and Damon. Tonight, we're going to talk about the fact that August is Self-Awareness Month. I have two amazing guests here with me this evening who will help me to talk about the subject. Before we start in on our topic, we want to wish everyone a wonderful back-to-school season. The school season 25-26 is upon us, and we want to make sure that each and every family has a wonderful school year, being healthy, happy, and productive. And so that leads us into our conversation of self-awareness. To my left this evening is licensed clinical professional Melanie Hall, my apologies. She's an accomplished author, and she has dealt with a lot of issues, not only with individual, but family issues as well, too. And to my right is Coach Mario Koonce of Vanguard Fitness. He is a physical therapist, a licensed how do I say
Exercise rehabilitation.
That's it. I couldn't think of it at first. I'm glad you both have chimed in. It's one of those days. It's raining here in Chicago, but we're making the best of it. I'd like to welcome you both to the show this evening.
Thank you, Art. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure. So I do want to talk to you both about self-awareness. And I want to start with you first, Melanie, on the fact that what is self-awareness? A lot of people, I'm in tune with myself. I understand myself. But a lot of people are not really familiar of what is self-awareness of oneself.
No, they are not. Thank you for bringing that up. Self-awareness is being very conscious and intentional about the way that you move, the things that you choose, the things that you experience, the way that you choose things for yourself that are either healthy or unhealthy, making a conscious choice and being very in tune with who you are, what you need, why you need it, your desires. Being in tune with yourself allows you to make decisions that help you take care of yourself.
Let me ask you this. When does one first realize self-awareness? Is that something that we're born with? Is that something that we develop? Or is it something that we get to be of a certain age and come into the fact of self-awareness? And the reason I say that is we live in a day and age now where even, in the world of pronouns, people wanting to be who they want to be. When do we come into the age of self-awareness?
Unfortunately, we are born egotistical, very self-absorbed, right? Oftentimes we become that self-aware when something is missing, right? And then they may come and see someone like a therapist. They may go and sit with a friend and talk with a friend and realize there's some gaps in my life and perhaps I'm not getting the things that I need. I'm looking at other people and they appear to be happy, right? I'm looking at other people and they appear to be fulfilled. And you will hear people say, I feel like I don't have any purpose. I feel like there's no fulfillment in my life. And that's when they start to really go within and do the introspective work. That's typically when people become self-aware. And some people may experience that in their teenage years and just be very astute and they're able to go within. And some people, it may be mid-20s and some people their 30s. And you have some people that really are still very ignorant to what it is that they need.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. I think that's very valid. Coach Mario, I want to bring you into this conversation. As we all know, guest house is temporary medical lodging. We're not a nursing facility or a place, where people actually receive rehab unless they have it coming in for them. Absolutely. But a lot of times when people are going through health challenges and or are the caretakers, people oftentimes forget about the self-awareness of keeping themselves physically active. So let's talk a little bit about that as we bring this conversation together.
Absolutely. So, and I love the definition that you provided with self-awareness and what it actually is. And I was doing some research in preparation for the interview and in our discussion. And one of the definitions that I found that I really found to be very attributable to what we were discussing was, it came from the Oxford Dictionary, and it was a conscious knowledge of one's own motivations, feelings, desires, and their character. Mm-hmm. And when you tie some of that into what I do in my role as a physical therapist, for example, the patient, how could their feelings be affected by the situation that they're in? So, and this could be the older adult that I'm working with that is dealing with plantar fasciitis or frozen shoulder, or it could be the young 24-year-old man who has just gone through a traumatic injury and now is faced with living life as a partial quadriplegic. So how is that person being affected? So now their feelings are compromised, their thoughts, their behaviors, because, I was a vibrant young person and I was, got my life all laid out in front of me. I've gone through school, I'm dating, all those great things. And now it seems like that has just been ground to a screeching halt. So how do I process and deal with those emotions? And one of the things that they don't teach you as you're going through physical therapy class is that not only are you dealing specifically with the patient, but also with the caregiver. Because now, let's say if you're a parent and you've raised your children and they're out of the house and they're independent, and all of a sudden now you're faced with a situation where I'm having to clean my child, I'm having to dress them, I'm having to deal with their constant demands for attention, whatever, these emotional roller coaster ride that person is on. So there's a lot of stress on the caregiver as well. So I utilize exercise as a method to deal not only with the situation that the patient is going through, in terms of setting some goals. Okay, and even if it's a moderate goal. So, for example, if they're very limited in terms of their ability to raise their left arm, and now after a certain amount of sessions, maybe they can get it up just a few inches off the table. That's a goal that's accomplished, and we need to process that and celebrate it. And for the caregiver, I very frequently will mention the fact that because it's so stressful and so demanding in terms of your time and how draining it is to be in the situation where you're constantly there, specifically if it's a parent or a spouse. You need to take time to separate yourself from the situation and do something for you. And exercise, because of all the benefits that it provides, will give you that relief. So it's time away. I'm working on my body. I'm aware of how my body feels and these goals that I've set for myself. And I utilize that as a tool to alleviate the issues of not just the parent or the caregiver, but the patient as well.
I think that's a great point. Excellent point. Now, I want to come back to you, if we could, to talk about when is it important for one to say, I need mental help. I need to sit down. I need to talk to someone. You and I talk all the time about, I know both of these people very well, and they're very highly respected professionals, and I'm honored to have them here this evening. But when should you know it's time for me to seek help? Because again, whether you're the patient, whether you're the caregiver, whether you're the child of someone going through all of this, a lot of people I know have recently lost family members, and they're just, in a daze about what to do. So what should we do?
Well, hopefully people are really paying attention to their battery. Most people do not, right?
Now, which battery?
Your own personal energy battery.
Got you. Right? Okay, important.
When you wake up in the morning, when you say to yourself, I don't want to do the day, it's probably time to sit with someone and talk about why you don't want to do the day. Because that doesn't mean that someone doesn't want to live, right? It means I don't want to do the tasks that are required of me today. And that's probably because you really want to focus on yourself and you want to do the thing you want to do for you. But because of your obligations, you're not doing those things. And it can create resentment, right? It can create a lot of negative feelings that we just kind of stuff and push away. When you find yourself doing that way too often, that means it's time to go sit and talk with someone. A lot of times it starts out to be a peer, right? A friend, someone else that may, be going through the same thing, but that just becomes complaints, right? We just trade complaints. You want to be able to go to someone and say, what can I do about these negative feelings that I'm having, or what can I do about the fatigue that I have? And that's when I will often talk to my clients. When they first call, I might say, what's the catalyst that made you call today? Why was today the day that you called? And oftentimes people go, because I don't know what else to do, right? Because they believe they've tried all the things. But guess what? When they come in, oftentimes we discuss doing some of the things to take care of yourself. And they're like, well, I thought I was doing all of that. You really weren't doing that. You were doing it as a task. Once it becomes a task, it's no longer self-care. You have to identify another thing that makes you feel connected to the earth, makes you feel connected to your spirituality, makes you feel connected to just being you, whether it's music, whether it's, going to have a meal by yourself. A lot of people, are nervous to do that, but it is freeing. Right? So being able to identify some of those things that just simply allow you to sit and be by yourself and be who you are and have a conversation with yourself, those are the things that turn into self-care.
Interesting. And I'm sure a lot of people don't equate those things as a part of self-care.
No, they tend to look at managing hair, nails. Well, I took a shower, I take a hot bath every day, and it's like, yeah, you may have done that, but did that actually recenter you? Right? But when you are able to sit with yourself and have that, let's say go outside and, for me, I have a garden, so I may go outside and I may have my coffee. I have literally shut the world out at that moment. What can you do that allows you to shut out the world? Right? And when you're caregiving, you're afraid to shut out the world because part of the world is a loved one that I'm trying to help take care of. But guess what? You have to be honest with yourself and that loved one to say, I just need a moment.
Which is true. Which is very true. And that's why at the guest house, we do our very best. In our Jane Wright community room, we offer dinners once a week for our guests and families. We do have dinners other times of the month as well when they're sponsored. But we also offer a plethora of activities for people to do while they're here in Chicago, or if they're not from the Chicagoland area, to try to introduce the caregivers, the family members, even when the patient gets better, to do some things in our beautiful city to learn more about just being self-aware and learning things to do for each other.
To remind them that they are still a person and they do matter.
That's right.
While you are taking on and I hate to call it burden. I hate using the word burden. And I think people use burden only because it's heavy, right? But when you choose to take on the responsibility of caring for someone else, regardless of what their needs are, that is an act of love, but you have to in turn do acts of self-love.
Right. Yes,
right?
you do.
You have to do those things. And when you have a place like Guest House that reminds you, take care of you too, it's paramount.
That's right.
Because people forget.
Very true.
They sit and they go, I'm always making sure that they ate. I'm always making sure that they have their clothes. I'm always making sure that their appointments are in place. And oftentimes you'll ask them, when did you have your mammogram? And they go, oh, no.
I did not.
I did not.
Because I was too busy worried about my mate, or worried about my child, or taking care of my sister who's going through whatever they're going through. Talking about the amazing meals that we have in our guest house facility and in our community room, Coach, I want to talk a little bit about diet and self-awareness. That, it's really wonderful to grab that bag of Doritos and, listen, I love them Doritos, and don't give me some bean dip to go with it, and here we are. So let's talk a little bit about nutrition and self-awareness as well.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with you when you're talking about those snack food items and those guilty pleasure food items that we all enjoy from time to time, whether it's chocolate or chips or pizza, whatever the case might be. But it is important to make sure that we are focused on balanced nutrition, and that it comes down to focusing on the macronutrients, which are basically the building blocks of good nutrition. So your carbohydrates, your fats, your proteins, and then the overall calories that come from each one of those. So it's basically a lot of portion control. So we want to make sure that we're feeding and fueling our bodies with the food sources that would basically break down to the energy source that we're going to be needing to get through our day, because there are certain foods that will affect our moods, whether they be positive or negative. And that's why ultra-processed and highly processed foods are so can be so dangerous, especially when we're dealing with overconsumption of those. So we need to balance that out with minimally processed or unprocessed foods, which would be, for example, an apple right off the tree is considered an unprocessed food.
Okay.
An apple pie from McDonald's is considered an ultra processed food. And the chemicals and the process that it goes, it basically, when it comes down to it, at the end, it's very dissimilar to the apple that it originated from. So a lot of those products will have inflammatory agents in them that can negatively affect mood. Just like if you eat a Snickers bar, and all of a sudden you're energized and you feel like you can, jumping all over the place, or you're drinking a Red Bull, right? You're full of energy, but then you have that crash because that sugar has been processed into the bloodstream, and now you're on that downward spiral. So it's like a roller coaster. And what we want to do in terms of self-care is to level that out. We want to be on an even keel as opposed to going through those spikes, the ups and downs. And we want to balance all that out. And good nutrition helps us to do that. I typically will encourage individuals, if they have the inkling and the mindset, get in the habit of preparing your own foods if you do that. I meal prep all the time. In fact, I cook 3 times during the week. I cook on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The rest is leftovers. So that I control the portions and the way that the food is processed. And I know how much sodium is in it, or how much fat, and how it was cooked, and what kind of oil was used, and all those sorts of things. It gives me that control. And I know that the food that I'm putting into my body is what I actually need to get through my day, as opposed to relying on the snacks and the indulgence of fast food, which is so convenient and it's all over the place. And very easy to get a burger or a slice of pizza or fried chicken or whatever the case might be. So, knowing that it is going to help me to balance out that mood and my emotions and those sorts of things, particularly if you're, a patient or a caregiver. That's all important. You can't ignore that.
I want to ask a question of you both. And being professionals, all 3 of us, and have had really great careers, when did you come into your own terms of self-awareness? When did it hit you? Did it hit you when the degree was presented, or you started your own business, or you reached a certain level of, fame and wealth and autonomy? When did self-awareness hit you?
I'm going to say self-awareness hit me right around my early 40s. I was afraid to go into my 40s, but once I got there, it felt freeing. It felt independent. It felt disconnected from all the rules of society. It felt like, oh, no, I'm me. I'm Melanie. Oftentimes people will ask me about certain things that may be removed from my life, and I let them know I'm still happy. Because because I choose to be happy, because we can also choose how we feel, right? I choose to be happy in my life because I know that things could be so different, right? I've had health challenges that have shown me who I am, different types of adversity in my life that have shown me who I am. You forget sometimes you're as strong as you are. And when adversity hits, health challenges hit, grief, depression, when those things come and they knock at your door, you have to have a different type of fight. And so you learn who you are. And you spoke earlier about characteristics, getting to know who you are once you remove all the roles, right? Take away my license, take away, some of the things that I do to help other people, right? Because I too am a caregiver, even in my professional life. When I take away all those things, I am still the Melanie Hall that loves to play music, loves to dance, loves spending time with family. Like, that is still who I am at my core, and I bring that to everything that I do. I don't allow the external things to alter who I am.
I love it. I really do. What about you, Coach?
For me, I would say it was early 20s, and had a neighbor who was older adult, and was going through some health challenges. And unfortunately, she had lost her husband years prior, and just found herself in a situation where she was just down, and she wasn't happy with her life. And she wanted to get out of the house, but she was almost fearful of doing it. And all the negative effects that go along with that. So I always liked her. I always thought she was a wonderful lady. So I started spending some time with her. And the end result of that was, she came to me and she said that, you know what, the fact that you've been spending time with me and taking me out on walks and getting me to a point where I'm comfortable within my own body, I don't feel like I want to go into a nursing home anymore. I want to stay in my house. So that deeply affected me and let me know that I was on the right path. By helping others, I was in turn kind of helping myself because I got a lot of benefit out of doing that.
Okay.
So that was really the key point for me.
Wonderful. I think both the stories are tremendous. What were you going to say?
I wanted to add something about self-care that I'm often discussing with my clients who are caregivers oftentimes, or just overwhelmed parents, right, and have a lot on their plate. People underestimate the power of rest, and they assume that rest is always sleep.
Right.
And sometimes rest is sitting in a quiet space. Sometimes rest is laying down just in silence and a moment of peace. And you will be surprised that the body can then relax itself. You'll be surprised that the mind, it doesn't necessarily shut off, but it will start to quiet itself if you actually focus on just relaxing the body, telling each muscle what to do. That becomes a level of rest. You can do that 15, 20 minutes out of a day, and you will feel like you took a nap, and you actually did not. So I do want people to realize that that is self-care too, that you're not lazy, you're not checking out. You are actually doing your body, your mind, and your spirit a good service when you do that.
Yes, they're called naps. I have to now get naps in every now and then, and I just apologize to people, but I have to get a nap. You know, I look good,
Naps
but I'm
are
getting old, and I have miles on me,
I
so
vote for
I
naps.
have to get me a nap in every now and then. Coach, what would you like to say as well, real quick, about things that you might give as advice of people being self-aware?
I would say that and I'm going back to the caregiver example, it's all right to take time for yourself. And I find that in a lot of cases, primary caregivers deal with guilt. I know I want to do this and I just want to get out, but I can't leave, the person I'm taking care of. And when they do that, they just feel horrible about it. And that really offsets the benefits that you get from taking time away from yourself. So I would say, don't feel guilty about taking time for yourself. You need to do that. Because if you are emotionally depleted and drained, what do you have to offer or to give someone else?
Which is true.
It's like the old adage, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Correct.
That's right.
So you have to make sure that you are replenished and energized.
Yes.
And I tell all my patients, clients, whatever the case might be, there are 24 hours in a day. I feel that you are entitled to take at least one of those to dedicate towards yourself.
That's right.
Whether it be getting in the gym or taking a walk and enjoying nature or reading a book or going out and listening to music, whatever it is that makes you happy, it's all right to do that. And you shouldn't feel guilty about it. Yeah, just 1 hour.
I love
Take that time.
I do.
And block that time aside. It's your time. And
Very
you're entitled
good.
to it.
Very good. We want to remind all parents in the Midwest that the sun is now going down before 8 o'clock in the evening.
Yes, we hit our last day.
That's right. So it's best that you get those young people in the bed, get them acclimated with getting up early. You as parents, I'm sure your schedule will change quite a bit. We want the entire family to be healthy, happy, and complete this year. And that's why we're having this conversation about self-awareness. Can you do me a favor, my friend, and tell people how they can find you, follow you, and all that? This has been an amazing conversation.
Awesome. I am on all social media platforms. You can find me at melaniehall.com as well, and you will find me on social media, Melanie Hall.
Very good. Thank you so much. And Coach?
Facebook, Vanguard Exercise Management. On Instagram, it's Vanguard MGT, like Mark George Thomas, followed by the number 1. And then on YouTube, it's Vanguard Exercise Management as well.
Very good. Thank you so very much. And you can always follow guesthousechicago.org, guesthousechicago.org. It's there on the bottom. We're on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram. So please make sure you follow Guest House. We're also participating in the 2025 Bank of America Marathon. And so so we're excited about all the people that are running for us. We'll be back next month with another exciting show. We thank you guys so very much for tuning in tonight. And remember, it's all about self-awareness in the month of August and beyond. I am Art Sims. May you all have a wonderful evening.